Hello. Well, Michael Skubala has just been announced as Leeds United's new under-21s head coach. So in this video, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about who is he, his philosophy, his journey, getting to this point. How's he become the new head coach of Leeds United under-21s? Let's find out. So yeah, here you can see I'm on LinkedIn. You know, he's got all this stuff on there. As you look up, I'll go up slowly. You can see his progression, starting at schools, then going to academies, working in youth teams, then universities. And it's around this point, I think, where it really kicked off for him. When he started working with the universities, he became the football manager, the futsal manager. Then he became the director of football at Loughborough, which, if everyone knows, Loughborough is probably the best place in this country for sports. So he really, at that point, developed and changed the whole landscape of futsal. He's probably one of the pioneers in terms of growing futsal to what it is today. I'm sure he'd say there's other people as well, which probably is. But in terms of for Leeds United, this is his background. This is where he came from. As you can see, look, and then he worked for the UEFA obviously as a technical and development consultant. So everything he worked around is about youth development, which is predominantly why he's the manager of the 21s. All about youth development, isn't it? It's all about growing young players, making young people better. Yeah, and look, it's a very, very good CV. Assistant England futsal coach, English FA coach, education tutor, head coach of the futsal England under-21. Yeah, and you can see, look, so this is where he changed here. Look, he became, because of his stuff, the amazing stuff he did, the pioneering he did in futsal, he got a job as the under-18s England national 11-a-side coach, which is just incredible. So congratulations on that. That's the caliber of guy he is. He's really highly rated across the FA. So it's great to have him as under-21s manager. So let's get into it. 23, he was playing in the academy, got released. So he started doing his coaching badges, like a lot of people do. He played conference football at uni, so non-league football. So, you know, decent level, but not top tier level. He then represented GB uni football team. And this is where he met head coach Graham Dell, who told him to try futsal. He saw skills in futsal. So he went to Thailand to experience futsal over there. Yeah, so he started off doing both. He started doing football, futsal. He really excelled in futsal, but he was always keeping up with football. He was always doing his badges and all that, which is why he got the England under-18s. That's a little bit on his past. Now, let's get into the interesting stuff. Let's talk about his philosophy. A lot of his philosophy talk came from this page here, the boot room, the FA. I'll put in the description. And there's parts here which are like interviews with him about all different things, and it's really good. I'd really advise go to watch it. Basically, I've picked out the most transferable areas. I'm going to talk about them now. The areas which I think are the best transferable in terms of managing Leeds United under 21s. Let's get into it. So at the start of the interview, I'm looking this way because that's where the information is. So, talk about his training philosophy. And this is all paraphrasing, right? This is what he said, but I've typed it myself, so it's not directly what he says. Okay. So he says futsal is very quick, and it can actually be 5 times quicker than football at the top level. So, and then he said, following on this, he said, so futsal players must make their own decisions on how to play the game. Now, this straight away, when I thought quick, talking about speed, futsal is extremely quick, so he's working, everything's really fast. What's that remind you of? How does Leeds United play, right? It's about getting that ball back quick in transition. Because futsal is basically one big transition in terms of you're already close to the goal, right? There's less players. You've got to get to that goal. Once you get into the final third, score as quickly as possible. That's transferable to football and the way in which Leeds United play. Jesse Marsh's system is quick. Win that ball quick, creating chances quick, getting a shot off quickly. So straight away when he said that, I thought, right, there's the connection already. But a big part of that at the end is the players must make the decisions. They have to play the game. He's very, very big on player decision making. It's up to them to make the decision, which I'll get into now. He says they, as in the coaches, give the feedback. But the players must take ownership. So the coach is there to give the framework, but the players have to, carry out that framework. He doesn't want to tell them do this. He's saying this is what we want you to do. You find a way in which you can do that effectively and best for the team and the individual, right? He also says, this paraphrasing, they have to understand how to deal with different situations as they are the ones playing. We give the framework and the path, and within that they have to steer. We have to try steer them in guided discovery into becoming. Like I said, he's really big on ownership, player ownership, which I think Jesse Marsch is too. Is about having a clear vision. Every player must have a clear vision how to run the system. I think this is true for Michael as well. Guide them to make the right decision, but the decision will be made by the player. Ownership, getting players, and with young players, you think about it. With young players, this is extremely important in terms of development and growth. In my opinion, it's all right, coach saying do this, but they have to know why. Why do they want to do this? What's the reason for doing this? How will this help the team? And that's what he's big on, getting the players to understand what they are doing and why they are doing it. He also says we work really hard with individuals. So obviously not on the court, but during the break or training or after the game, he will talk to every individual about their personal role to make the team better. And if you think about a Jesse Marsch system, working with young players, both can be incorporated. They have to understand the role. If one person isn't doing the role correct in a Jesse Marsch system, it won't work. The system won't work. Everyone has to be in tune individually to create a whole team performance. So it says here, if you tell players to go and do X, the responsibility is no longer with the player. The responsibility is taken off the player. So actually, sometimes players want you to tell them to do it this way because they don't want the responsibility. Again, it's about taking responsibility as you as a player, taking responsibility for your role and your decision. In futsal, I always think the gaming responsibility lies with the players. We are there to support the staff and they are the actors. So they're the support staff, they're the actors. You give them direction, they perform. Taking away the responsibility takes away the why. And if they don't have understanding of the why, it will fundamentally break down. So I think that's a nice little. That's his training philosophy, his teaching philosophy. And I think that fits in perfectly with youth development. Obviously, he got the under-18s job at England national team, so he's clearly very high thought of, and you can see how this will massively increase the participation and the development of young players for Leeds United, giving them that responsibility, that ownership to how they play. So when they come to the first team, they'll be ready. They'll own their own technique, their own skills. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a little clip on the boot room as well, which is him talking on match day, and I've got some notes of what I picked up from that. So what he did was he asked players questions. So why did you do this? What should you do in this situation? If we do this, should you do this? And he wants the players to respond. He wants them to feel, it's an ongoing theme, isn't it? He wants the players to take ownership, and that's one of the biggest things. In terms of playing philosophy, this is where we'll get into that now. So what he says here is, he said he loves forward passes and breaking lines. He doesn't really like going back. He likes playing into midfield quickly and breaking those lines. And again, where have we seen this? Pre-season, been watching Leeds, breaking those lines between centre back and midfield, getting into midfield quickly, forward passing quickly as possible. So the transferable skills there are similarities between Marsch's system and the way he thinks are comparable. He also talked about clarity. He wants a clear mind to the players. Again, who says this a lot? Jesse Marsch. So that clarity, the understanding of what they have to do is vital for him. In terms of playing style, what he says is, I always think about football and futsal is about the spaces and the gaps rather than the system of play. We have systems of how we play, but that floats and changes. work out how to exploit their gaps, the opponents. So the system is there as a base, but he likes space. He likes, where is the space on the pitch? Let's play in there. Let's try and create space. Let's exploit space because the game flows. So maybe that's a little bit different. Maybe we'll see that more with the first team. I don't know. But he likes, the system is there, but it can be adapted in and on space, right? So if the opponent leaves gaps, he will exploit that gap. He loves space, and he loves creating space, and he loves players to create their own space, and teaching them how to do that is very important to him. This is all from what I've gathered anyway. You can go watch the videos yourself, they're really good. Also about, so with futsal, everything is so fast. That's what he talks about. He's so quick that he has to make decisions really quickly on the pitch, on the court. You can't dilly dally. The decision is there. You've got to make it. So I think this is a very good. In a game you're losing 1-0. How can he change and adapt the game quickly to get a goal? He's the type of coach that will learn and will know how to do that. The quick transitions and stuff like that. He spoke a little bit about in a leadership group that Jesse Marsh talks about. He has it similar, but in terms of futsal. And I imagine this transferred to under-18s as well. There's not too much on that, but in futsal there's a lot, so I'll talk about that. So he has groups of players on the pitch that are this kind of a leadership group, and so when he's busy coaching, they have responsibility to the subs to talk about the tactics. They have a big responsibility to educate the other players because he can't, because he's busy with other things on the pitch, which is similar to Leeds, right? You have the core group of the leadership group Jesse Marsh uses to speak with and talk about. This is the same with him. So I think for the under-23s, that'd be good. You'd have a group of players there. Some of them are maybe leadership type players. So the biggest part of his philosophy, playing philosophy, what I found on futsal, and I imagine this transferred to the under-18s, is 3 parts. So basically he breaks the pitch into 3 parts. And what he said was the third part, so the defensive part, is his third. So when he's coaching his third, the defensive part, it's how he wants it. So the more you go up, the more the players take ownership, the more freedom they have. But the defensive third is his part of the pitch. And what he wants in there, he doesn't want, ideally, more than 2 negative passes. Maybe this is slightly more in 11-a-side, maybe 3 or 4, but in futsal, he didn't want more than 2 negative passes. He likes to play forward from the back. Let's play it from the back and play it forward quickly. He also said he likes to have overloads. So again, think about Leeds as wings, where the space is on the fullbacks in the middle, that middle overload we have. It's a good opportunity in that system to create an overload. So if he likes overloads, that's good. That's going to really work. It's going to be transferable to the first team. And the middle third, which he spoke about, is our third. So that's a third where the players and the coach have both creative decisions on that. So he will have his principles, which he wants, quick passing, quick movement. But the players have the freedom to do their own, put their own skill, their own creativity on it. But also sticking with the system, sticking with the foundation that they have developed. Then the final third is the player third. This is where the player takes responsibility. You can't show a player how to shoot. You can't teach a player how to shoot, how to do a skill, how to take a man on. That's down to the individual. So in this third, he leaves it to the individuals to make those decisions. Obviously, as a coach, if you make the wrong decision, you'll tell them, come on, that's the wrong decision. But this is down to them, as professional footballers, to use their creative skills they have learned to score a goal or to create a chance. And we'll just end on this. Victor Orta has already said, obviously, said something. It's his appointment. He said, the role of head coach within the under-21 side is clearly an important role at the club that sees so many players progress to the first team. We interviewed candidates from across the world over the course of the summer, but work Michael has done within FA alongside his ambitious plans for the group give him the edge, and we are really pleased to welcome him to the club. So they've what's the word? Interviewed many people, but they like him the most. They believe he's obviously his CV, which is very impressive, and the work he's done with the FA and his vision for the under-21s is what made them want him. So in the end, that's the decision we got to back, and I'm really excited for it. Head of Academy coach Adam Underwood added, "This is another clear sign of progression for our academy." So it's kind of that next level, isn't it? You know, the under-23s coach, you know, Matt Jackson's now working for the first team. What an incredible guy he is, you know, Leeds lad. But this, in terms of who they are, their name, their profile, this is next level. This is going up another, especially with the signings of Giabi, Sonny Perkins, etc. This is next level, and I think we're really going to see a good development now. The players that are ready to play for the first team earlier, and we could get a lot of sell-on value as well if it doesn't work out. So yeah, the academy at Leeds United is key part of our DNA. We believe that Michael is the best possible candidate to improve the group. He will be working with whilst preparing the team for the setup of the becoming first team players. And that's what we know, don't we? That's what it's about. Progression, become first team players. And I think Michael is going to have a really good time in Leeds. I really hope he works. Maybe one day he could get to the first team. You know, I'm excited for it. I wait to watch 23s this season. So yeah, that's the video. That's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. I know I'm rambling again, but I just enjoy talking about these things. It's the people that comment and like, I'd really appreciate it. I'd really appreciate it if you continue to do that. I'll make more videos. Yeah, that's it. Peace.